why not sit back, relax, and take things easy like a Sunday morn. I'm your host, Shane Lockwood. This is episode 57, and today is the 5th of June 2016. For those of you who are regular listeners, you will know that there has been a bit of a gap for a couple of weeks, and I'll get into that later. For those of you who are brand new to the podcast, welcome aboard. This podcast is slightly different to a lot of other podcasts. I got sick and tired of the pseudo advice, all of the false promises and the entrepreneurship kind of podcasts and people complaining about this and that and all the racism and all the bigotry and all the nonsense that goes on. So I decided to create my own podcast that is sort of relaxing. You get informed, you can turn your life around. It's positive, it's encouraging. I can talk about whatever I like, but in a relaxed atmosphere. You see, Monday mornings are usually very hectic and you have to run around and do whatever. It's very stressful when you're at work. But before that, if you rewind the clock a bit, now Sunday evenings, Sunday afternoons, Sunday afternoon is where you'd be mowing the lawns and doing your washing and things like that. Washing your uniform and preparing for the week ahead. And Sunday evening, you are slowly just mentally preparing yourself for Monday morning. Before that, you've got Sunday morning. Before that, you've got your Saturday night. You've got your partying of the weekend and things like that. Fast forward back to Sunday morning. Sunday morning is where you get to sleep in. You may have that extra 30 minutes or just a 10-minute snooze or even an extra hour's sleep on the Sunday morning. But you'll find it's very quiet on a Sunday morning. There's very little traffic on the roads. There's also a whole lot of other people doing exactly the same thing. They are sleeping. They are just enjoying the quiet time that Sunday morning provides. So why not have that sense of quiet, calm, relaxed atmosphere and have it spread out through the rest of Sunday, through into Monday, and then throughout the rest of the week. Why not do that? But also, if you are sitting in your favourite armchair, maybe with a beverage or two, a few snacks, and just listening to this, just relaxing, unwinding, and letting go of the previous work week, all the dramas, all the stresses, all the he said, she said nonsense, and just relaxing, just regrouping, recharging, re-energizing, and rebuilding your self-esteem, and just giving yourself a lot more strength and courage for the week ahead. Why not do that? You may be in bed trying to get some sleep. Why not listen to my voice for the next 30 minutes and allow yourself to drift off? Absolutely guilt-free, no dramas whatsoever. I want to talk about why I didn't do a podcast for the last couple of weeks. Actually, I'm not going to give a reason exactly, but I'll tell you what I've done in the meantime. I have lost a grand total of 13 kilograms since the beginning of this year. I started this year at 119.9 kilograms, and that shocked me. I did not want to be 120 kilograms because in the old scales, 120 kilograms was basically the 0 point. So if you stepped on the scales, they start at 0 and they go all the way around a 360-degree loop, and they would stop back at 0, or 120 kilograms. So there's a point where you stand on the scales, they do a full 360 degree turn, and then you have to call yourself an all-rounder. Now, for most of my adult life, I've floated around about 115 to 118 kilograms, and it's been terrible. It's just, but I didn't care. I ate it what I wanted. Chocolate Bavarian. I couldn't eat one now. What we call a gyros, or a kebab in other countries. They call it a kebab, or a souvlaki, or there's different names for the same sort of thing. But I'd eat a lot of red meat, and things like that. So I've switched from red meat to tuna. Also eat a lot more broccoli and a lot more greens, just to keep things functioning properly. I also downloaded a few weight loss apps to monitor my calories and things like that. So I've lost 13 kilograms. I'm down from 119 down to 107, I guess. But I normally think in terms of 120, because it was 119.9. I rounded up to 120 kilograms, so getting down to 107 kilograms is the 13 kilograms. I think that the math is right there. So yeah, what I did was, in order to lose weight, I changed my diet slightly, just ever so slightly, because I still needed to eat at a certain calorie kilojoule level. And that, I found that difficult, because there's a tendency to want to cut the diet really down a lot. But if I was eating pizza, it would have knocked me over the calorie threshold. But if I switched to other foods, then I could eat more vegetables, I could eat a whole lot more, and more regularly. I'm eating breakfast, lunch and dinner, and allowing myself the occasional carrot or green bean or a bit of steamed broccoli for a snack here and there. So just changing slightly, but learning at the same time the amount of calories, not just calories per serve. And I think in kilojoules, which is 1 calorie is 4 kilojoules. I think it is, yeah. So what you do is, on the box of the packaging, you'll see the calorie per serve information. And in America, the calorie information is in big, bold letters, but the serves per packet, right, that's another number, very, very important number that you need to know, is very often in fine print by comparison. Now, in Australia, the information's just all printed the same size. So you're looking at the calories per serve, and then the amount of serves per packet. Now, a lot of things you think, well, then if I just have a serve, it's fine. But what you have to do is divide times the number of calories by the number of serves, so that if you eat a whole packet of that item, and let's just say you're emotionally eating, you have a bit of a binge, right? So you eat the whole packet. Now, something like Tim Tams, for example, which are a chocolate cookie here in Australia, that's very, very addictive. Lots of chocolate, just laced with chocolate. Anyway, something like 556 kilojoules per Tim Tam. Now, if you are trying to match or to maintain a kilojoule limit of, say, 5,200 kilojoules, and that's the safest minimum kilojoule amount for an adult human. If you're trying to match that and you eat a Tim Tam, which is 556 kilojoules for each Tim Tam, right? And it's still well within your calorie range, but it's just over 1/10 of your calories or your kilojoules for the day. So you've got to be very, very careful. If you eat 2, it's 1/5 of your kilojoules for the day. Now, if you eat an entire packet of them, which is 20 of them, you're going to blow out your diet completely. So that's why before I buy anything, I check the packaging information and think to myself, oh, gee, if I am watching a movie or something and I absent-mindedly go through all of this packet, what's the calorie damage going to be? So that influences my shopping, and there are things that are unhealthy that you would think were normally healthy based on that little formula of calories per serve times per serve times the number of serves in a packet. And things like peanuts are bad. I don't want to say good or bad because that might promote food disorders and things like that. But in terms of protein, they're great. In terms of fat content and calories, yeah, no, you want to avoid that. Same with things like dried fruit, dried apricots, dried bananas, and trail mix and things like that. That's really, really bad for you because you 1 or 2, it's fine. If you are monitoring your calories, have 1 or 2, have a handful of peanuts or dried bananas or whatever. But the thing is, once you've opened a packet, it's going to sit there either in your fridge or wherever you keep your food, and it's going to be tempting you. So it's just one of those things you have to be aware of if you're losing weight or trying to get fit and things like that. The other thing that I did, apart from downloading a few apps, my favorite app is MyFitnessPal, because 1, I've got a lot of friends on there now, and 2, because as you enter the information, it will tell you, oh, this food is high in vitamin C, this food is high in vitamin A, this food is high in sugar. But then it might say, well, hang on, your goal for the day is, say, I don't know, 59 grams of fat, right? And it will say, oh, hang on, this has got 29 grams of fat in it, but your goal is 59 grams of fat in it. So just be careful. So you can, using the apps, you can say, well, for today, for example, I got to a point where I couldn't eat any more carbohydrates for the day. Right? And it'll tell you, no more carbohydrates. But I could also eat a little bit more fat and a little bit more protein and things like that. So I had a few more, had a few more fish fingers. And when you learn how to read the information, if you buy a packet of fish fingers, let's see, bird's eye fish fingers, and I'm not paid to talk about products and things like that, but I bought for just over $10, there's a 40 pack of fish fingers. So you read the dietary information and you go through, yeah, okay, this is fine for me to eat. Lots of protein, a little bit of fat. Now, it does have a lot of carbohydrates in it, but the serving it's 3 fish fingers per serving. And that's based on 40 fish fingers divided by I think it's like 13 serves per packet. And it works out to be just over like 3 fish fingers per serve. And you stop and you think like that. So if you have 6, it's 2 serves in the fitness app, and it'll tell you, okay, well, that's so many thousand kilojoules or however many calories, and the dietary information and stuff like that. The only problem with some of it's got mono unsaturated fat in it, and it's also got polyunsaturated fat. However, the good fish oils, or the omega-3s and things like that, they fall under the unsaturated fats. But the fitness app says that you're not supposed to have them. So I think it's a matter of just weighing up what's sort of beneficial and what isn't, and things like that. The other aspect that I did was to start walking. There's a 1 kilometre fitness loop near my house, so I was walking that. I did 5 kilometres today, but I normally do, say, 5 kilometres extra on top of whatever it is that I'm doing, running around the city, and you can easily rack up, say, 10 kilometres walking around the city doing shopping or whatever it is that you do. So there's something to look out for. But I can now walk at a very brisk pace of 6 kilometres per hour, and the speed is 6 kilometres per hour. The pace is 10 minutes 32 seconds per kilometre. So I can, unlike when I did the podcast last time, it was up around about 14, because I was walking and talking and then worried about what everybody else thought, and the dog walkers and elderly people and people screaming and carrying on and whatnot. But slowly but surely building up the muscles, the walking muscles, the calves and the thighs, and losing weight. I've started to notice the weight loss. Other people around me have. The people that haven't seen me in a while, they've started to notice the weight loss, which is great. But I personally have started to notice it myself. And initially it was in the stomach, a little bit in the stomach. I could suck my stomach in. But also in the face, and the neck. My neck is actually skinnier than the rest of my head. Like normally, like people who are very beefy, they have like the solid neck happening. But people who are skinny or thin, they have like a visible jawline, and I can see that the skin around my jawline is starting to tighten up a little bit. But I'm doing well. I'm doing really well. The other thing that I did was I got myself a pair of dumbbells, just the handles. Now the handles, they were on sale from $14 down to $10. So it was $10, and then I bought 2.5 kilogram weights, and that I'll offer a grand total of like $24. So basically it's 5 kilos plus the 1 kilo dumbbell bar handle thing. Now I could only make one dumbbell with those 2 weights, but it doesn't matter because I'm just using it with one arm, and then I'm changing over to the other arm. Eventually I'll get weights for the other dumbbell because they run out. So what I'll have to do is get 2 1.5s at one point, and that's 3 kilograms. Yeah, well, I'll have to figure something out. Yeah, I'll have to figure something out. But the cool thing is, what I've decided to do is, because of the 50 weeks until awesome, and you've currently got 46 weeks to go if you started when I said, but it doesn't matter. You can start at your own pace. You can start at today or whenever. This is easy, like a Sunday morning. I'm not pressuring anybody to do anything, but if you do want to change your life, you can start today if you want to. Okay, what did I do? Oh, you bought these weights, and I'm slowly using them every day, and just working out different muscle groups, working on my biceps, but also working on my triceps, because apparently a lot of weightlifters say that you should focus more on your triceps than on your biceps, because the triceps support the biceps. Biceps just like a big bulge, and if there's no tricep behind it, then you're not going to be lifting very heavily or very often at all. So my triceps are starting to come in, starting to tighten up as well. I do want to get back into, maybe not Tybo. I did Tybo a while ago, but getting back into doing push-ups and sit-ups and all those sorts of things as well. Just working on my core and being as effective as I possibly can. And what else? I also found out about getting a police clearance. For a lot of jobs these days, you need a police clearance. And I walked into the police station, and the female police officer behind the counter had said, why do you want it? Rah, rah, rah. She gave me the 3rd degree, and I just thought, oh, hang on, I just want this thing. And then she said, no, you can't get the police clearance. Are you doing it just for work or whatever? I said, well, I'm a cleaner and I want it for like cleaning. And she said, you can't just say for regular employment, you've got to say as a cleaner, because there's a different protocol that they have to go through or whatever. So I've got the form, and I've just got to fill it out and pay the $42.75 to get that processed, and that'll take about 3 weeks, I think. But it's one of those things where I could have applied for a job. I could have had a job as a cleaner locally, but I needed a police clearance, and it's one of those things that can hold you back if you don't have it. Also want to get myself a white card. Now, a white card allows you in Australia to work on construction sites. So I'm not interested in construction, but I can clean a construction site to like maximum effect with a white card. So it's a police clearance, a white card, and I'm also considering getting a security license to be a security guard. Now, the problem with that is, one, it's very, very expensive. Two, a lot of people aren't hiring security guards, because what they'll do is they will hire internally, and they will train their pre-existing staff internally. So it might be a case of who you know, not what you know. But once again, without the license, I'm just whistling Dixie. So we'll see what happens there. I finished the Work for the Dole project a little bit earlier than I had expected, but I learned a lot of like horticultural stuff. I learned how to basically grow certain vegetables, and how to use a wood chipper, how to weed, and do various other things. But with the 50 weeks of awesome, the idea is it's like a complete life overhaul. Oh, the other thing is that I've started saving money, because I've got all my bills paid and for like another month. And so I I think $15 in each in two other accounts that I've got, and I've got, say, $100 left. But I'm going to do a few things next week, like go and see Hunt for the Wilder People, which is a movie that I thoroughly recommend. Just on the trailer alone, it's got Sam Neill in it. It's a New Zealand movie about this guy who doesn't like kids or anything like that, but he's got to look after his this young boy, and they get lost in the wilderness and stuff like that. So they've got to survive and deal with each other and stuff like that. It looks really, really funny. I laughed pretty much all through the trailer. So the movie, hopefully, fingers crossed, will be a whole lot more of that sort of stuff. I just found the whole thing really, really funny. Now, what else do I got done in the last 2 weeks? I've organised possibly a free computer, a free laptop through somebody. I had a chat with them about my situation, because there are people in your life that they might be your best mates, they might be your best friends, but they do not have your best interests at heart. There are 3 people in your life. There are those that are positive, and think of that as a plus sign, like +1. These people go out of their way to help you and encourage you and support you. You've got those that are neutral, and next to that put a 0. These are the people in your life that don't care either way, right? You could live or die, it doesn't matter. They might even give you platitudes, they might like your stuff, but in reality, they're not helping you out. The positive people will help you out with finances, they will help you out with directions, give you the things that you need to progress and thrive, even if it's just advice, but proper good advice that you can use. These are the positive people in your life. The negative people are not the people with depression or anxiety, or people who have a different opinion to you, or whatever you want to call it, right? These are not the people that are pessimistic. Pessimistic people still want you to succeed. Negative people are the people that are dead against you. They can be as positive to your face as you like. They can share all the positive memes and things on Facebook and have a smile on your face and smile to your face and do this and do that. But they are backstabbing you, talking crap about you behind your back, and they are not your friends at all. They will sabotage you every time. If you mention your plans, your future plans, they will say, oh, yeah, no, I don't think that'll work, or whatever, right? But intentionally sabotage you. There are people who have been in my life to sabotage my YouTube stuff, and there are people that didn't want me to do a podcast. There's all sorts of stuff going on, right? And these are the people that you need to really distance yourself from. You don't need to cut them out of your life exactly, but you'd be better off if you did. But that's up to you. I know a lot of people that let a lot of nasty people in their lives. I weigh things up and then maybe choose to cut them out. But anyway, we've got 40 seconds left on the clock. I hope that today has been great. This has been a great podcast, and I hope that you enjoy the rest of today and take the rest of the week easy like a Sunday morn. If you like the show, please consider supporting it with the financial stuff. The links and contact information down below. And this is the best podcast ever. Spread it around if you loved it. Tell your friends. Bye.